If we say that if you go to school and you graduate, you can find a better job and you can live a better life, let's live up to that promise. Let's make sure that they have the opportunity. And we're not looking for a handout. We only want to compete out here.
Eight headlines recently talking about the VA and getting the investigation into the Veterans Administration here in the Montgomery area. But other than that, nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. What she's made a career out of is litigation. When the people of Alabama vote you to an office, you're there to govern. You're there to fix problems and study issues. You're not there to litigate. If you want to litigate, there's private practice for that. You can have a private practice if you just want to sue people and investigate, because that's all she's done since she's been in office. Now, the VA has had a long-standing problem. We all know that the veterans keep adding up from Vietnam to the Gulf War to Afghanistan to Iraq, and they're continuously adding up. And we've done nothing to adjust our processes. We've done nothing to upgrade the VA system. We've done nothing to implement real change to help out the veterans. We're quick to send them to war. She's voted numerous times to send American troops to war. Wars that we didn't participate in, like Libya. She wants to put boots on the ground in Syria now. But you don't make the necessary changes in the VA to make sure you protect these young men and women when they come back from war. And the only thing you can do is litigate and investigate a problem which you have the oversight to already. It really doesn't make sense to me.
What's happening now? Is America headed into war? Are we already in this fight with ISIS and all of this that's going on?
To be honest, America's already at war. We're already at war. And Congress is the people that make sure how we participate in this war. Not the president. The president can only implement the ideas from Congress. He can only say what he would like to do. But Congress, by the Constitution gives Congress the power to implement war, to have military actions. And instead of throwing it to the president, because that's what most of the congressional members are saying, we need a plan from the president. No, you need to do your job. Go into session, debate the issues, and come out with a plan to put us in war, because we're already there. We don't want boots on the ground. We don't want no more Americans overseas on the ground. So what can we do? The sad thing about Libya, Syria, and Iraq is they don't know what's going on. You have so many different fractions over there. Nobody knows the language. Nobody knows the players. Nobody knows the direction. And if you ask me, I wouldn't lie to the people. The people need to know that, okay, if we brought Saddam Hussein to justice, why shouldn't we bring Bashar al-Assad to justice? Because he used chemical weapons on his people as well. The same way, that's how ISIS came about, the civil war in Syria. That's the head of the problem. There's no way you can fight ISIS in Syria without taking on Bashar al-Assad. That means you have to go to war. And we can't hold Iraq to its normal standards. The Kurdish people in northern part of Iraq want to break off from Iraq. Iraq cannot hold the Kurdish people. Let the Kurdish people have their own country. It's not our responsibility to control any kind of map. It's not our responsibility to go fight boots on the ground for somebody else's freedom. That's their responsibility. Now our responsibility as Americans is to seek out people that's looking for liberty, that's looking for democracy, and assist them with that. Assist them with the millions of people that's displaced in refugee status. We wonder why the spread of disease, Ebola, and things like that is spreading, because we have millions of displaced people from Syria, from Iraq, that's in Jordan, that's in Lebanon, and they're living in deplorable conditions. That's a harbor for disease in itself. So instead of us being reactive to everything, it's time to be proactive. Congress do your job.
Erick Wright is my guest. He is a candidate for the 2nd Congressional District here in the state of Alabama. Give us a call if you have a question or comment. Feel free to dial us up at 269-6785. 269-6785. To our friends over in the Auburn, Opelika area, you can reach us at 1-800-631-2893. He is the Democratic challenger to Congresswoman Martha Roby. Our phone lines are open right now. Why politics on the throne? I've seen this a couple of times. You said Washington needs new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about politics on the throne. You're sitting, and give people some idea. You're sitting on a bathroom toilet, and then you make your comments. You do a commentary.
Yes. It goes to what our media does pick up and what they don't. You know, our media has the knack to pick up the unnecessary things instead of the truth. Our media has the knack to shine light on the outrageous and not someone that's doing something positive. A toilet just speaking politics, you know, and I left that on YouTube because they would pick up the outrageous, but what they didn't realize, what I said reached Democrats, Republicans, independents, and especially Tea Partiers and Libertarians. They agreed with me the most. And as you saw from that commercial, Fox News, they agree with me to the T. And you never have Fox News agreeing with a Democrat. And they agreed because we need to actually look at what's going on with our rights. Even the events in Ferguson. It's not even, it's sad and it's tragic that the young man was shot and killed. But the events that took forth after that, the basic human rights, the basic rights that the Constitution gives you, the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press. We even saw the press being taken to task by the police officers. The right to assemble, peacefully assemble. We saw people rights ending at 9 o'clock. Like this is what I mean when local and state government can intrude on your life. And it was shocking to them that I was on the toilet, and it made such a splash because of the scenery, but the content, they let the content slip out, and I think it resonated with a lot of people. So we just kept that going with the people and made sure they know that we're on the side of the people. Like, we don't have time to go back to the 60s or the 50s or the 40s. We don't have time to fight a war of independence anymore. We've already fought that war. Like, our job is to uphold the Constitution. Our job is to make sure our rights are not trampled on or impeded on. So we want to make sure that we do that.
And you believe the intrusion is not on a federal level, but a state and local government.
Right. Well, I believe that the intrusions on your rights and your personal rights, you should look at it. You shouldn't look at it as just a federal thing or a state thing. You should look at it as a whole. Like, any intrusion on your rights, any intrusion on one right is an intrusion on everyone's rights. If you intrude on a person's right to where they wear their clothes, you're definitely going to intrude on somebody's Second Amendment rights. So we want to make sure that we stand together as a people to make sure that, okay, we're going to have our Second Amendment rights. The same way we're going to have the right to say what we would like to say and gather peacefully, you know, as long as we're not hurting anyone. And I will also plead to anyone that was participating in the protests and participating in the marches, that's great that we can come together and peacefully protest. But the time now is to put your hands down. Your time is to go home, to galvanize, to teach your people about voting and your power of your vote. For when stuff like this happen, we can kick it out of our society. But we see it plain and simple in Ferguson. The people have no power. They don't have clear representation in the police department. They don't have clear representation in the city and local government, the state government, or the federal government. So the power is always been with the people and the people's vote. So that's what we need to go march about. That's what we need to go gather our people up and get angry about. We need to get angry about voting. We need to get angry about showing up and participating. Because if we can show up to anything else, we should be able to do this. What marriage consists of, and that's love and commitment. And any love and commitment to your significant other is beautiful. I would also like to say that as far as marijuana goes, it is the duty of the federal government to definitely decriminalize marijuana. It's idiotic that we have these policies that we criminalize people for something that's legal in so many other states. And to be frank about it, the war on drugs doesn't work. The police department was made to protect you from other people, not to protect you from yourselves. If you have a problem with drug use or alcohol use, then you need to be treated. You need treatment. You need help from a doctor. You don't need solitary confinement in the prison system. We see our prisons overrun already by idiotic laws. We need to help ourselves out. Decriminalize the marijuana, then you will see that the unfortunate amount of black people that are locked up because of petty marijuana possession, that'll drop. That'll actually drop so low that you'll see it actually spur the economy. But that's my ultimate stance on the decriminalization of marijuana.
Pro-life or pro-choice?
Oh, I definitely think, because I am a male, that a woman's choice is her choice. Myself personally, in my personal belief, I don't believe in abortion myself. I have kids myself, and I never chose that route. And my beliefs show that that's not for my family. But as American, as the laws that we have in America that we have to uphold, that if that's what a woman chooses to do, which I hope that she doesn't, but she has that choice. Our job is to make sure that we can provide alternate things that she could possibly do. We can provide job opportunities. We can provide contraception and things like that to prevent that thing from even happening. But ultimately, it is a woman's choice.
Thanks, John, for your call. 269-6785. That's the number to call if you have a question or comment.
She actually had a.
She says, let me say, she spoke out on the issue on domestic violence Tuesday. Today is Wednesday, saying that tolerating abuse indirectly condones the crime and inhibits victims' willingness to seek help. As a society, we cannot tolerate domestic abuse. When abusers are not held accountable, it serves to indirectly condone the crime and has a chilling effect on victims. But nothing about
no stance whatsoever.
No.
It's just the normal political rhetoric. If you abuse someone, you deserve, and if you're in that stature of occupation, you should resign.
Mm-hmm.
You should give that job up. It is only right. An article that Miss Roby put out about the EPA standards,
mm-hmm.
and saying how that is going to be a huge disservice to the farmers. If we want to tack on the EPA, we should actually speak about what's going on with the groundwater that's in the 2nd Congressional District. I'm not sure if you're aware, just in the Wiregrass alone, the groundwater is due to deplete in about 30, 40 years. So what would the farmers do then? So instead of being reactive to everything, let's be proactive. Let's make sure the federal government work with the city and state to produce water reservoirs and things like that we can lengthen the lifespan of our water. See, these are the things that we need to do. Whenever you run for office or whenever you have a public position, you have to have a vision of the future. If you don't have a vision of the future, then you're pretty much deteriorating what we already have. And that's what we've been going through the last 4 years. There's no vision of the future whatsoever. My kids live in this district. So I want to make sure that it's going to be around for them for the next 40, 50, 60 years and their kids. I want to enjoy that. You know, I don't want to see I don't want to see foreign manufacturers continue to come, like Chinese manufacturers continues to come and pollute our air, pollute our water when they don't have standards themselves in their own land. And their water's polluted in their own land. They don't have EPA standards. They don't have a minimum wage. You know, they don't protect their own employees. Well, what do you think they're going to do when they get here? So I want to make sure that we protect those watering holes. I remember my father and my grandfather taking me fishing to the local creek. I want to do that with my sons, and I hope my sons want to do that with his sons. So we got to protect that. We got to have a vision of the future.
Hey, Stephen, any other question? Hey, thanks. Mm-hmm. Hey, thanks for your call. 269-6785. That's the number to call. Erick Wright is my guest. We're talking politics. He's the Democratic challenger to Martha Roby, Congresswoman Martha Roby, for Alabama's 2nd Congressional District. If you have a question or like to make a comment, feel free to dial us up, 269-6785. And if you're outside the Montgomery area, 1-800-631-2893. Would you be open to a debate with you and Congresswoman Roby?
I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, Alabama State University is hosting a meet and greet session where all the candidates out of the state are invited to, especially Parker Griffin. I think he's already accepted it as well. I've accepted it, and we're waiting for the our Republican counterparts to accept it and come and debate us. Come and say what your vision there is for the future. Come and state your positions and let us state our positions, and the voters can choose who's best. But this is something that they don't want in Alabama. You see Governor Bentley ducking and dodging, and you see Martha Roby would do the same. They don't want to be put on the stage where they have to defend themselves or their decisions. I tell everybody, these safe districts and these so-called red states or safe states is a rip in democracy, because your vote no longer matters, whether it's a safe red district or a safe blue district. Whenever you have a minority that can vote, but their vote no longer matters, then democracy is dead. Like, they have nobody to answer to, and they have no accountability. But we're calling them out. It's October the 9th. October the 9th will be the meet the candidate session. Also a debate. We want Martha Roby to show up. We want Governor Bentley to show up. We want you to state your positions, and we will state ours and let the people of Alabama choose who's best.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. I believe it's just outside Prattville. Here is Marshall.
I would try to address every question. I promise you that. As far as same-sex marriage, like I said, my personal belief, my personal belief is that myself, I believe in man and woman, but as far as the law goes and what I believe as far as who a person can love, I don't control that. And I believe if it's about commitment and love, regardless of what I think about it spiritually or religiously, it is their right to do so. Now, I do not believe whatsoever that we should make a church or we should make a religious establishment marry two women or two men. But if they wanted to choose to go to the courthouse or get married by a ship captain or something like that, then that's perfectly fine with me. But I don't think that you should force a religious institution, whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, or whatever. You shouldn't force them to do something that's not covered in their values. Now, I do not believe that. But as far as what a man and woman wants to do, or a woman and woman, a man and man, that's their business. that is absolutely their business, and it's about love and it's about commitment. And I would keep that there. Now, as far as the job situation goes, I was one of those people that were looking for employment that has a degree, and the only thing that I could find that paid more than $12 an hour was working 12 hours to build a car. I didn't go to school as many years as I did to build anybody car. I didn't I didn't study so many different things to work on the assembly line. So, when it comes to jobs, I want to bring meaningful jobs, not just service jobs where it's just paying minimum wage. We need more jobs in technical in the technical area. We need to boost the pay of our teachers to get more innovative teachers in.
Yes.
Like these are the things that we need to do to attract
Yes.
better people to our society and make it grow. These are the things that I am about, and these are the things that I would push for. And you are absolutely correct when you say that our history is not taught in the school system. It is definitely not. I didn't learn who was a Moor. Have you ever heard of that before? I didn't learn what a Moor was. I didn't learn about Timbuktu or ancient Kemet or any of that until I got out of high school and had to search for those things myself. I didn't learn about the African Holocaust until years after. We do a lot about the Jewish Holocaust, but over 80 million black Africans died in the African Holocaust, and we don't have a state ourselves. But these are things that should be addressed, and the accurate depiction of history should be addressed, and those are things I definitely will fight for, because I teach my kids the accurate history and not that Columbus discovered America, which is preposterous.
Erick Wright, my guest, I want to thank you so very much for stopping by this evening and taking time to talk with me.
Oh, we're done already?
Hey, man,
I was just having
you're a
fun.
politician.
I was
okay?
just having
you're
fun.
You're a politician, so you know how you guys do. Y'all can talk forever. No, I'm just kidding. But we look forward to talking to you again real soon, and we will be, of course, keeping an eye on the election.
November 4th. Please remember, November 4th, please take your friend, take your family, tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody else to go get registered and participate. This is our life, and if you don't vote, you don't matter.
Erick Wright, my guest on 90.7 Perspectives. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with more right here on WVAS. Thank you, sir.
No problem, buddy.
Oh, my goodness.
It was fun, man.
Always.
It was definitely fun.
Thank you.
You take care.
How'd the interview go?
It was okay. Like, I wanted to say so much, but you know, when you're time limited, you know, you can't say everything that's on your mind. And like always, soon as I get on air, people want to ask about same-sex marriage. People want to ask about legalization of marijuana, decriminalization, and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure I give them my honest opinion about it. If two men want to get married, two women want to get married, it's none of my damn business. They can go to a courthouse, it's absolutely fine, but I do not think that the church should be forced to do it, or a mosque or masjid should be forced to do it. That shouldn't happen. But if that's what they want to do, long as they love each other and it's about commitment, then so be it. Decriminalization of marijuana, decriminalize it. It don't make sense to criminalize it. We got prisoners on top of each other. We don't have enough space to even put them. So decriminalize that. If we can save that money and put it into our school system, instead of fighting the war on drugs, we can actually fight the war on education and go ahead and pump some money to the school system to pay some teachers more. If we pay teachers more, we'll attract more teachers. We'll attract better teachers. Teachers that's willing to go the extra mile for the kids, you know. And if you pay somebody an accurate wage, they'll show you their worth. But it's always fun to go on the radio. You think I look good for the radio?
Yeah, man.
But yes. Next stop, We got to make the next stop and go ahead and meet more people. Make sure people are registered to vote. Make sure people are getting ready for November 4th. November 4th, November 4th, November 4th. That is the day that we will show everybody. We will show everybody what the power of the people can do. Because it's not about money. It's not about your connection. Or it's not about what your family did or the hierarchy of people. It's about the people that vote. The power is always with the people.